King David both marks the beginning of a new era, at the same time also the end of the older one. With simple words, you can feel his life experience that he has gone through when it comes to hardships, sorrow, and joy. He is on his last part of his life. So, welcome to Leah's Bible Babble Psalms. Here you can feel that King David is getting old and tired. He seeks solitude and forgiveness, as in line 3, "Be my rock when I can flee, the fortress where I find my salvation." And if you go further down in the verse, you will find in line 6, "From the first moment that you have been my support, for the womb my strength, I always sing your praise." This line made me think of the song from the 90s. Yes, I am that old. From the band Savage Garden. "I knew I loved you before I met you." Link down below, as always. But it will be in line 15 and 18 that we get the proof that King David believes in a God that was present throughout his life. "I want to testify about your loyalty. Always give testimony about the help you have given through, even though I never understand to it to be the fullest. Don't abandon me, Lord. When I'm old and my hair is gray, let me proclaim your power to generations to come." The last verse of the psalm is all about praise and thankfulness that no matter what happened in David's life, God has been on his side. This psalm is written by King David's son, Solomon. Now, Solomon did something that King David never did, and that was to bring peace to his kingdom. And with that, other things could flourish and develop, like agriculture, architecture, democracy, medicine, and so on. Things that are foundation blocks of a modern and functional society. We get glimpses of it in line 3 and line 6 and 7. "Let mountains and hills carry the fruits of peace to the people by rightfulness. He shall come like rain over the crops, like light rain that waters the earth. Let justice verdure in his days, and peace and prosperity shall prevail until no more moon is showing." In the next part of the psalm, I realized it could be interpreted in two ways. It's either about God or about a king with God complex. Either way, here we got on paper, or more likely parchment and clay, that the ancient people throughout the world and how big it was for them. In line 8 it says, "He may rule from sea to sea, from the river to the world's end." What seas does he refer to? Well, there are 3 seas that we know that they knew about. It is the Mediterranean Sea, the Black Sea, and the Red Sea. And the river in the text is most likely the river of Euphrates. So we have now a box that have borders, and now we need to fill it with content. And Solomon does this by mentioning 2 cities, Tarshish and Saba. The Greek called Tarshish for Tartessos and lay on the southwest coast of Spain. It was known and were also regarded as the western point of the known world. And it is from here kings from far away will come with gifts. We know that the specific region in Spain was known for the trade with lead and other metals, olive oil, wine, and honey. Saba, on the other hand, was on the south border of the Arab Peninsula, almost where Yemen is today. There was famous for caravans and camels, caravans of camels transporting goods like gold and spices, but the really expensive ones was myrrh and slaves. Alongside with the word Saba, there is another word, Seba. Now, Seba is mentioned more alongside the word Kush, the kingdom in Ethiopia that is with Saba. And no matter what, the south border of the ancient known world is established. But the most interesting thing is that the king from Saba and Seba will bring tribute. Now, tribute is a voluntary gift for a sign of loyalty and respect. But sometimes tribute was some sort of protection money for an alliance. So instead of creating alliances with marriage or trade, there was a third option with tribute. I have said it before and I will say it again. They lived in a magical world, not the kind of wizard and witches kind of magic, but the belief of supernatural beings and things that reached beyond the power and beliefs of God, like ghosts and spirits, but also in blessing and curses. And we got the proof of that later in the last line in the Psalms. May his name live on forevermore. The one that blesses shall speak his name. If someone was blessed by God with something and you wanted the same thing, you could pray a blessing by saying the name of his and her with the blessing. Now, for example, John had a large herd of sheep, and you could pray that and say that you wanted as many sheep as John had. It was also the same thing when it came to curses. And this psalm ends the second book in the book of Psalms. It's a psalm of reassurance that God is good, even stated in the line 1. God is good to choose those who are righteous against those whose heart is pure. I came to think of the Children's Grace, God is good to me. I've translated the Swedish version of it. You know, God is good to me, God is good to me. He give me food when I'm asleep. God is good to me, oh yes. But of course, there will be clouds of rain, even on a shiny day. And in line 13, the gloominess starts to take over. I held my heart pure in vain, and I washed my hands innocently. Even to this day, the expression I wash my hands is used when you want to proclaim your innocence. The writer tries to understand who God is, but has to give up, and I don't blame him for it. But no matter what, God is always willing to lend you a hand, as in line 23 and 24. But now I'm always with you. You hold me by the hand. You lead me after your will and lead me into the path of glory. This psalm can we put a date on? It's about the destruction of temple in Jerusalem in 587 BC. And we are getting a glimpse on how it went down in line 6 and 7a. They smashed the ornaments with bile and crowbar. They set your shrine on fire. You get the feeling that God now takes a step back and to mend his wound now when the temple is in ruins. So the writer questioned God in line 11. Why are you holding back your right hand? Why do you hide it in your cape? Remember that the right hand stood for power and justice, and with hiding it, it could be an insult to your enemies. But hiding it doesn't necessarily mean something bad, even though that you hide your hand, but is where your hand will be placed over your heart. And we all know that place your hand over your heart, there's something completely different going on. And it means alliance, allegiance, honesty, and loyalty. The rest of the psalm is like God need a reminder of who he is. That what he has done for his people, like his self-confidence has taken a beating and now need a pep talk. As in line 22a, O act, O Lord, claim your right. Here we have something new that hasn't happened before. God talks directly to everyone that wants to listen and not through a spokesperson like Joseph and Moses has been. And this shows a change within the early Jewish church. And I'm talking about the line 3 and 4. I chose my time, my verdict is just. If the earth is trembling for everyone that lives there, it will be me that gives stability to the foundation. The belief that the earth, aka the world, lies like a flat disc upon 4 pillars, still give me Terry Pratchett's vibes. Later in the text, we'll have the expression raise your horns. Now, horns can be 3 things. The drinking vessel, the attire for a helmet, or the instrument. It's neither Amos Amaras, the Vikings, or the opera. But because of a couple of lines later, you find the letter chalice. So let's play with this thought that horns mean the drinking vessel in the text. To drink from a horn can mean a lot of things. Everything from belonging to a barbaric people to showing off power and prosperity. But it also stands for something else. The transition in the society itself. When the Iron Age now just is a memory and the antiquity has begun. And we all know that would be a challenge, a chalice that would be the centerpiece 500 years later and beyond. There's a link down below to Sabaton's songs, Templars. And the Templars itself were convinced that they protected the chalice. But that is a completely different story and a separate episode. Anyway, the drinking vessel needed to be filled with something. And in line 9b, it says, yeast-spiced wine. Here in northern Scandinavia, we call that beverage glögg. That is basically warm wine with a lot of spices and serves so hot you can barely drink it. It's only served around Christmas. The story about wine is pretty similar all around the world. You couldn't store fresh water, but you could store wine. But sometimes the yeast process could go further on when the wine was produced, giving the wine a sharper taste. So to disguise it, they added a lot of spices and sometimes even boiled it. The Psalms end with line 11. All the horn from the godless shall be broken, and the horns of the righteous shall be raised. Skål. So, thank you for watching and listening to me. In the description down below, as always, I'll use for links and information and links to my other social media. Feel free to browse around in here. There's something for everyone. I hope so. Please like, subscribe, and share, or leave a comment. Remember, if you don't know what to do, at least be kind. Love and light to you all, and I hope I see you in the next episode. Bye!